2 medals, silver and bronze at the last 2 World Championships, finished 4th at the most recent Olympic Games. Now out on the track, and a total of 18 runners all told in the men's 3,000 meters, and the legendary Rudy Chapa holds the meet and the University of Oregon record at 7:37.7, set all the way back in 1979, and there is Edward Cheserek.
Speaking of legends, this kid is a living legend.
He's only a sophomore.
I know. 7 NCAA championships, 6 individual, 1 team. What can you say about him except one thing? He hasn't turned in a really fast time in his career in the 3,000, 5,000, or 10,000. It's going to be interesting to see. Matt Centrowitz said the wind is a factor.
Yeah.
It's blowing pretty hard, so you don't know how fast he's really going to want to push it today in these conditions.
Well, and also what is a factor as we are underway at 3,000 meters is that the Pac-12 championships are coming up next week in Los Angeles, followed by the regionals in Austin, Texas, followed by the NCAA championships on this same track, June 10 through 13. So those obviously are much more important issues. That's why we're wondering, if you're wondering why you haven't seen Jenna Prandini, for example, in the women's 200, she's resting up for championship season. Here's the start list. Cheserek is there. There are a couple of pacemakers in the event as we go back to the men's javelin.
And Hostetler, Cyrus Hostetler just took the lead, and that's Sam Krauser who just threw. We just saw the arc of his javelin there. We'll let you know as soon as we get the mark exactly what it was. A few weeks ago we had Raymond Dykstra and Sam Krauser going head-to-head in the javelin. They were 1-2 at the NCAAs last year with Krauser winning, and that event the tide was turned a little bit.
Travis Newman, one of the rabbits up front, Parker Stinson running for Saucony, will also have part of those duties. But obviously just underway in the 3,000 meters. Once again, the meet and University of Oregon record held by Rudy Chapa, set back in 1979.
And if there hadn't been too much wind, I would have expected Cheserek to maybe go after it, because there's a reason why he's running today. A lot of his University of Oregon teammates are not, but he is. And so the question is, you know, what does he hope to achieve here? Now, he went through 463 seconds, about 4:12-mile pace, 8:24 two-mile pace, not especially fast, and he's very, very comfortably ensconced in 3rd place at the present time.
Pacemaking is such an important responsibility. You see that an awful lot in, not in championship racing, obviously, at the trials or anyplace else, but throughout the Diamond League. You see that in the distance events, particularly the 800 meters, 1,500 meters, and in this case, the 3,000 meters, a very specialized skill. Lewis Johnson, our colleague, I shouldn't say former, made a very good living at that for many years. Now very busy with the NBA playoffs.
Okay, we're going to take a look back at Sam Krauser's 3rd round throw, and they are throwing again into a wind, which is actually good for the javelin throwers. And you can see not much of an approach for Sam. He got out to 237 feet 2 inches, which took the lead.
Into the wind seems kind of counterintuitive. Why is it that advantageous?
The wind actually lifts the javelin up, Paul. So when you throw into it, it actually lifts the spear up, as opposed to when you're throwing behind it, it can dovetail down.
Pacemaker, Parker Stinson still up front, along with Travis Newman, and there is Edward Cheserek. And what a performance by Cheserek and the Oregon Duck men at the indoor championships recently.
Indeed, the Oregon men have been fantastic, winning the NCAA Outdoors last year, winning the NCAA Indoors this year. Later, you're going to see Eric Jenkins, who was named the NCAA Indoor Athlete of the Year. Between him and Cheserek, you have almost an entire team's worth of points just with those two runners. And Jenkins is a senior who was honored earlier. Cheserek only a sophomore. The University of Oregon fans get to see 2 more years of this guy after the season.
Coming up on 4 laps to go. Cheserek tucked in very nicely, and while we have a moment, let's take a look at the women's long jump.
And this is Brianne Tyson-Eaton, and boy, did she have a great day today. She jumped 21 feet, 8 1/4 inch. On this jump, boy, she hit the board just perfect. A lifetime best and a new meet record. She herself getting prepared for the World Championships, where she was a silver medal, and look who was watching. And look who knew right away that it was a great mark.
Talk about peer pressure. You put up a wonderful mark, but she was a magnificent, or is a magnificent, there you see the final results. But Tyson Eaton is a magnificent heptathlete, and where can she do with respect to moving on to the World Championships and Olympics?
She's got to get better in the throwing events, Paul. Shot put is not a good event for her. She's actually a fairly decent javelin thrower, but it's the weight events which really kind of weigh her down, so to speak. And now we're coming up to the 4:16.2 at 1,600 meters. So it's still a bit pedestrian on the scale of times. Right now they're running about 8 flat for 3,000 meters. 8 flat for 3,000 meter pace. So you know we're going to see a kick here by Cheserek. The question is when and why is he here? What's the strategy he's wishing to employ that's going to get him better for the NCAA championships?
Parker Stinson still there, one of the pacemakers. Cheserek currently in second place. Trevor Dunbar running for Nike, I should say running for Nike, and currently in third in the purple singlet.
And Stinson and Dunbar, both formerly University of Oregon runners. Dunbar is from Kodiak, Alaska. We're going to see Levi Tomet, the next great distance runner out of Alaska, in the mile a little bit later. But Dunbar is a very, very good 5,000 meter runner himself, but it's almost like Cheserek's having to hold himself back a little bit here. You can see the short strides, very, very fast tempo, and absolutely no signs of distress.
And going hard for 3,000 meters for Cheserek is not necessarily a challenge with respect to the Pac-12 coming up next week.
No, I mean, the biggest competition Cheserek's going to have in the Pac-12 will be from his teammate Eric Jenkins if the two of them go head-to-head against one another. Now, that last lap was 62 seconds, so they did increase the tempo. 62 seconds for that last lap. And one other thing, Paul, you brought up there, there's another good runner we saw last weekend, Colby Gilbert from Washington, who had a very, very strong kick in the 3,000 he ran, former U.S. junior national champion. I'm not saying he's going to beat Cheserek or beat Jenkins, but he's going to be somebody to watch.
Will Cheserek double in the 5 and 10 to Pac-12 and on the NCAA? What will he run?
I think he'll run either the 5 or the 10 at the Pac-12s. At the NCAAs, he'll definitely double.
What about the 1,500 meters? We saw him run there last year up at Washington State, the Pac-12 championship.
Could be. It depends on where Jenkins is going to go and where Cheserek's going to go, because it's all about getting maximum points.
Dunbar coming out around Cheserek to take the lead.
And we'll see what happens here. Again, Trevor Dunbar, a very legit 5,000 meter runner. 6:25.8 through 6 laps.
Coming up on the bell. We're going to have a very interesting final 400 meters. There's going to be some cat and mouse on the backstretch again, running into a very, very stiff breeze.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, Cheserek dogging him. This is the way that Edward Cheserek likes to run. He does not like to lead. He likes to kick. He likes to size up his opponent.
Pulling up alongside him now and going easily by Dunbar.
And it didn't take a lot for him to make that move. And of course, with 200 to go, we're going to really see what he has. And here he goes. And it's going to be easy for him. So obviously, he's in tremendous fitness as he approaches the Pac-12 championship. Again, looking to do just enough to win, Paul.
Yeah, Dunbar working hard. He made a race out of it, but Edward Cheserek in fine form.
Well, that's one thing I don't like about him is his form. Look at how he works with his arms.
I agree with you. I meant generally speaking in terms of his fitness, as he shuts it down right before the finish line and unofficially wins the 3,000 meters in 7:57.97. So Edward Cheserek, the winner.